Hey, Pastor Luke Stewart here, and I'm excited to share with you our very first podcast named True Talk Podcast. We're here with some guests today, and I'll get to those, but just want to share with you that this is our very first podcast named True Talk. The plan is to deliver 2 podcasts per month, where we will have a testimonial podcast, and we'll also have a topical. And we're here today to share with you a topical podcast. But before we get to that, I'd like to share a Bible verse with us and open this episode up with a verse from Joshua. Joshua chapter 1 and verse 9, and I'm reading from the Good News version. It reads, "I commanded you to be strong and brave. Don't ever be afraid or discouraged. I am the Lord your God, and I will be there to help you wherever you go." And it's a fitting verse for us today with the topic that we're talking about, which is black and brilliant stories from uni life. My name is Pastor Luke Stewart, as I said. My cultural heritage on my father's side is I'm a Wiradjuri Aboriginal man, and on my mother's side, I'm a Ngāpuhi New Zealand man, heritage, and I'm just so keen to be here. My position with the Seventh-day Adventist Church is I'm the ATSIM Director, that's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Ministries Director, and I'm also the pastor for the Southside Aboriginal Church, which we meet in Inala. I also have the privilege of pastoring the Southside, the Logan City, One Talk Church as well. But just a note to our sponsors, we would like to thank so much the Southside Aboriginal Church group for providing sponsorship so we can bring this podcast to you, and also the CSD team of the South Queensland Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, who have also provided some funds for us to bring these episodes to you. So we have some guests here today, and I'm very delighted to introduce to you Azalea. How are you, Zay?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good, and I'm so keen that you're here. You made some time to be with us to launch off the very first True Talk podcast. So, Zay, where you're from and who's your mob?
So, as I said, my name's Azalea. My mob is Thungutty, so we originate from Bellbrook, New South Wales. That's my mob, and I'm excited to be on the podcast today.
Yeah, awesome. And where are you currently living now?
So I'm studying at Avondale right now, but I'm currently located on Gold Coast. Gold Coast, so yeah.
Oh, awesome. Good stuff. So just a trip up the highway.
Yeah.
Cool. We're also privileged to have young Nathaniel here with us. And Nathaniel, thank you for making time to be with us. And where are you from and who's your mob?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm a proud Wiradjuri man on my father's side, and a proud Ngāpuhi man too. On my mother's side, I'm a proud Samoan man too. Yeah. Yeah,
so you got some wonderful Pacific Island blood running through you, and Māori and Aboriginal blood too. So it's a privilege. Wow. Well, look, we're excited to share with you a topic which is close to your hearts, which is all about uni life. And so, look, I reckon let's just get straight into some of the questions we want to ask today and some of the conversation. Today's episode is all about your young mob doing deadly things. We're yarning with 2 proud Aboriginal students that have stepped outside their comfort zone, and they are allowing education to get them further. They're using their identity, and they're also remaining connected to their culture. They're walking in 2 worlds, and I say that because we identify as First Nations people, but we are educated in a system that we struggle to identify our First Nation roots or education in some of our systems there. So we're walking in 2 worlds. It's so good to have you here, and let's get started with our first question, shall we? All right. So, can you tell us what your journey in uni has been like so far? Zay, why don't you start?
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying I'm studying a Bachelor of Arts in Counselling, and this is my second year so far. So Yeah, it's been a really good experience so far. I definitely feel as if I've grown as an individual. And yeah, it's been so good. I've made so many good connections down at college, and yeah, you get a bit homesick, but it's always good coming back for a visit. I think the distance makes our hearts grow fonder, and we get to catch up with our family when we come back home. But yeah, it's been an awesome experience so far.
So would you say that going to uni so far, you're excited about it? How do you feel so far about it?
Yeah, I've definitely it's been a new experience. Obviously living away from home and having that experience of being more independent now. I didn't know really what to expect. I have had a brother that's gone previously, so there was a bit of expectation there with his experience. But yeah, I think, everyone has a different experience, but I can honestly say that like being at uni has shaped me as a person. And yeah, it's been good.
That's awesome. So Nathaniel, what made you want to go to university?
So right now I'm studying a teacher's degree, so a secondary education degree right now. I'm also in my second year as with Zay. And I guess to answer your question, what really encouraged me to studying teaching is, in school, in high school specifically, I really love the subject HB. I just love sports. I just love studying the body, and I've always taken a liking into studying that topic. And I would say one of my real people that how in school you don't really like teachers. We always got that one teacher we just don't like. I feel like as a HPE teacher, your role as a teacher is to you want to make your students to like you, and you want to make them to like your subject too. And there's one teacher at my school, his name is Meredith. Well, I can call him Michael Meredith now that I'm outside of school. He really was a role model for me in how I should teach and how I should, approach kids in school, and how I should be confident. And I really taking a liking to how he teaches, and which really drive me to study teaching at this point and specialize in his topic too. But yeah, it's really been one of the reasons why I study that right now.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that a role model, a teacher could be a role model to encourage you to go to school, to go to university. That's deep. That's awesome. A question for both of you, and answer it at your own time and in your own way. Managing uni life, there must have been some expectation or unknown stepping. You said your brother was there before you. There would have been some stories coming back. Managing uni life, what were some of the expectations that you had that you brought into university that maybe you panned them out at some time after a little bit of time there?
I'll take this. I guess the whole experience of uni life is just so different from high school. I feel like people think that assignments, exams, same thing as high school. I just got to study, but it's actually not. You actually got to commit to classes. It's all independent over there. So in school, for example, if you miss a class or something, you get called home. Your mom's gonna be on your back or your dad's gonna be on your back about it. But at university, you could miss as much classes as you want, and you have an 80%. You have to attend class 80% of the time. So if you're not attending that 80% of the time, that's on you. It's not, you don't have your dad and mom to back you or keep you on your track. So that's kind of something I didn't really take in consideration, because I was always still living under my mom and dad. As a 17-year-old, when I moved into Avondale, I kind of didn't know that. I always thought my parents was going to be there to help me throughout my thing. And I was wow, I actually my parents aren't really in the picture anymore. They're always just there for support now. So I guess that's the misconception that people have about Avondale or about university itself.
Yeah, it's very self-driven. So even with things like managing your finances by yourself, or even just simple habits like time management and stuff. I feel for me going into it, I was excited for the experience of having that freedom of being by myself and being independent. But yeah, I think when you get down there or in the process of uni, there's a lot of those expectations that you have to meet those deadlines of like your assignments and stuff. So I think that's a big thing that you have to consider when wanting to study.
But at the end of the day, it's still good to have a free will at college, like not be able to have a curfew at night, you know, just like be able to just live as like a 19, 18-year-old without your parents on your back all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Get away from home a little bit.
It's good to hear. So obviously there were some changes there that were involved. Shifting your mindset though, what was that like coming from a controlled environment, mum, whether it's mum and dad or mum, and you had school, certain time to be there, class, teacher sending notes home if you weren't there.
Yeah.
That from that controlled environment to a somewhat more of a self-controlled environment. Yeah, what was it like shifting your mindset into that environment?
As we said, like it's very self-driven. So you have this freedom of you can go and do all these fun things. Like at college for us, we have a lot of social like events that happen sort of like late during the night. With that you have to sort of manage it and balance it with, or do I have an assignment tomorrow that I actually have to like commit to, or do I go to this social event? That's like one of the things for me that I've had to manage, like being down there. And shifting that mindset from being in school to going down to university. Yeah,
there's a lot of responsibility back on you now. Look, I love hearing that, and it's powerful to see young mob taking some of these challenges and stepping into them, you know, like kind of leaning into some of these experiences and learning from that. And look, that's great to hear. How do you stay connected to your culture while you're away at university? What are some of the things that you're doing there in that way?
Some ways me and Zay stay connected to our culture, especially like focusing on my indigenous side, is like Zay recently said that she's going to put in a culture act at culture night. So this is like a really good, like, because last time they did it was way over like 2-3 years ago, or ages ago, which is when her uncle and auntie were there. And like they haven't had one since. So it's really good to evolve like the Indigenous Act and keep it like going over the past few years. But I would say for myself as a multicultural man, like being Indigenous, Māori and Sa, like the Samoan community over there is massive. And like they have such a big friend group. And I guess I was like kind of adopted into that friend group because they found out I was Sa. So this is something that I wish that like more Indigenous people came to Avondale and kind of form that group. So then I don't have to like look for Indigenous people at Avondale. Like they kind of just come to me as a first year. So yeah, it's like being a multicultural man, I guess that's how like I stay connected to culture at Avondale, away from home.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me is obviously, for me, culture is staying connected to my family. Having that check-in when I call back home, and one of my sisters actually got up me because I wasn't checking in as often. And we're close, so I knew like our relationship wouldn't like differ from that. But yeah, I think that's so important, is to check in with my mob back home, and even with because most of the Indigenous community down there is my family or my boyfriend. So that's obviously like a good thing. And I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of the other cultures down there, because it's such a ethnic university. We see like the Filipino community, we see the Samoan community, like they've got these big groups and they're able to stay connected with the people down there. But I think a big thing that we want to do moving forward is sort of create a community down there where we're able to do activities, have little dinners together. But yeah, we've been able to be a part of Cultural Salt, which was a good experience. We both sung at it. So yeah, it's just these little opportunities where we get to represent First Nations people, and yeah, I think there's a big need for it. And yeah, I think it's just cool. Everyone like has your back too, so I feel like that's a good thing to take note when you're going to a university, is not to be ashamed to embrace your culture. Because I know for me, there's that stigma has been broken down for me because I see all the other cultures embracing each other. So yeah, I think that's been one of the biggest things for me, to embrace my culture more, especially in university too.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some great insights there about seizing the opportunities that are in front of you, and being able to bring culture into your learning space. And look, I've studied at Avondale University as well, and there can be. Tell me, what is it like identifying as an Aboriginal student at Avondale College? Do you feel that there's a space that you can go to? Is there some place that you feel you belong, as that cultural setting where it's like a safe zone? Don't take that safe zone out of context, but a place where you can go and kind of like build cultural connections with each other and express your culture. Do you feel that is there, or is that something that you feel it's kind of like your legacy to bring that culture into your learning space? Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think like we have a person every year that is nominated to be a cultural leader. I'll just go. We have a student each year that is nominated to be a cultural leader. So their big push is to obviously get all of the cultures there embraced and be able to be represented. But I think personally for me, I think that at our uni, moving forward and looking into the future, it would be like incredible to create maybe like a hub or somewhere where First Nations people can go to and just feel like they can get help and connect with their community down there.
But even like what your school did, like they made a yarning circle from like that was brand new to school. Like if like what you're saying, like something that we could bring into Avondale, like if we can support the act of potentially putting in a yarning circle into Avondale University, or just having some place where First Nations people can come together, would be like a really good like something to look forward to for Avondale.
Yeah, or even just like more education around First Nations people, I think is a big thing that needs to be represented more. And yeah, I think it's just getting the numbers too of Indigenous students down there. But yeah, why not do it with the people that we have there already? Which I think is a good thing to look forward to.
Yeah, it's definitely got some opportunity there.
Yeah.
There's some positive opportunity of legacies that we can leave and leadership that we can install. And so, yeah, I reckon the two bright minds that are there now will certainly be able to speak into that space. And so, you know, we're talking about culture. Let's transition to a somewhat uncomfortable space where it could be talking about, which is some tough times and some challenges. Have you had any tough times or even doubts about being at uni? And if you have, how have you worked through those? One, being disconnected from culture, but two, having that distant relationship with your family and mob. Yeah. Have you had any of those tough times, and how have you worked through them?
I'll start off. Well, in my first year, I actually went to uni. Like, usually when you go to uni, you usually set up Centrelink and AbStudy, or whether you choose either one. But I kind of like applied for my Centrelink a bit too late. So I started my first 3 months at Avondale with no allowance. So I didn't get no money for the first 3 months of Avondale. So it was kind of like a struggle for me. And like there was a whole another issue with my whole course and being an undergrad where I couldn't get like a free accommodation for the first year and a half. So it was kind of like a struggle for me. And I guess like a major, what helped me through my actual claim and like my Centrelink was my girlfriend. Like she set up hers before me, and she kind of just like guided me through. And I think I had it up by end of April, which is like almost halfway through the first semester, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, at least she helped me get some money flow in, stop asking dad for money every now and then, and I was able to pay off whatever I had overdue, rent and stuff, which is like a blessing and an answered prayer, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I think definitely being at college, there are a lot of temptations, even just with like things that you thought you wouldn't like. Let's just say like social settings that you maybe don't want to be in yourself. There's a lot of temptations down there, because it is a university, so there is sort of that expectation on those experiences and stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't sort of find it a challenge because I've had those people around me to keep me accountable. Like I have a partner that, we keep each other accountable in those types of situations and stuff. But yeah, that can be a big challenge because you do have that freedom now as an adult and transitioning to living away from home. So yeah, I'd say that is a challenge, but it's even just as simple as just your sleeping habits and stuff. I definitely have fallen into bad sleeping habits, which has sometimes affected my studies, and yeah, I can say that I'm still working through that a bit. But yeah, I think that can be a big challenge, is just knowing how to manage your time and all of that. I would say that has been a challenge for me.
Definitely. Yeah. So a new environment, you don't have the parental guidance there as much. You're kind of navigating university assignments and money management, as we hear, Nathaniel, money management and things like that. How do you cope with stress? As an Aboriginal person, what we normally do is we connect with our family and we find outlets. We try and cope with stress in those ways. But being at a uni, and you're probably one of the smaller cultural makeups there. How do you cope with stress? And when I mean stress, it's not. I'm talking about a useful stress, a healthy stress, as getting assignments in on time management for sleep and meal preparation, and because you're doing all that on your own now. How do you cope with this stress? So talk us through that.
Yeah, I think initially when we look at stress, we look at it as a negative thing. But I can say that stressing in uni can be useful, because I think if you weren't stressed about handing an assignment in, that'd be a bit worrying. But yeah, I think it's just looking at how to manage your stress and knowing yourself a bit is always helpful with managing stress. So yeah.
One time I was it's another story, but I was actually, it was like in the near end of my last semester, so start of second year, semester 1. I was actually just scraping through I did the calculations and I was just scraping through one of my units, and I think I had my estimated to fail the unit, but I went up to, I actually didn't go up, she actually reached out to me. My lecturer actually reached out to me and she sat me down with my exam, and she said that you're not going to pass this unit by 2 points. And I was like, oh, true. I was like, is there anything I could do? She's like, well, that's why you're here. And she sat me down and she helped me answer the questions that I got wrong on my test over again. So she got me that opportunity to I was able to pass my unit, which I passed eventually. But she gave me the opportunity to pass my unit. She just sat me down and helped me. She didn't tell me the answers. I just kind of she's like, okay, what is this? What does this mean? And she wasn't giving me an answer. She's still making me think. So I was like, like I guess that was like a good like way to like relieve my stress about the unit and stuff. And she was able just to calm me down. I was like, oh, finally, I just got that unit over and done with. Like I finally passed the unit, which is like a way of like just she like really helped me in that end.
Yeah. Another thing I want to add is, I think it was last year. I was also stressing about like when I would finish up my course and what that would look like because of like a failure of one unit. But it was as simple as, like using this stress to be able to go and actually talk to my lecturer. And she sat me down and she actually went through my whole grid and showed me what units I would have to do each semester. And yeah, I think that just like lifted a whole weight off my shoulders because I was able to like turn that stress into an opportunity for me to be reassured and just see what the rest of my uni looks like. So yeah.
I'm so glad that we've got 2 young Aboriginal students that are sharing this, because there's a stigma that for young Black Aboriginal demographic to push into university, it's like it's too hard. You're not going to cut it. But here we have 2 young students that are saying that teachers were bending over backwards to make sure you pass your units.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for our listeners to hear, is that sometimes we can count ourselves out before we've even gone there with the fear and the expectation of what we can't do, rather than just stepping out and doing that. And so, thank you for sharing that some of those real experiences. And I guess in the process of meeting these demands and stress and, making sure your marks are on point, what mechanisms do you have in place that stop you from giving up and just going back home? And I know it's probably a personal question, but what mechanisms do you have in place? Circle of friendships, connection with God, each other. You're in a relationship. You make sure you're accountable to each other. Yeah. What mechanisms do you have in place that stops you from giving up and keep pushing through?
Yeah. I think for me, definitely the people I surround myself with. I'm very selective with who I surround myself with, and at college I do have like really good friendships where we keep each other accountable. So yeah, a lot of the time that helps me to not give up on my studies. Even just like if I'm going through a bit of like mental challenges. It's always good to also check in with my family back home. But I think for me, I'm always reminded of how much my mom has put into where I am today. And yeah, I can say that keeps me going a lot because, she did a lot for me to even have an education, be able to go down to university. So yeah, I just think that is always a good reminder to not forget like where you come from and who has paved the way before you. So yeah, I think that's always a good reminder for me because it keeps me going, and it pushes me to want to study the line I am studying in.
That's so encouraging as a parent myself, knowing that your children appreciate the sacrifices that have been made. That often other members of our family don't have access to or privileges to be a part of. That it's not just going to waste, and parents that are listening today, that you're making those sacrifices for your kids. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep on pushing through, because they might be young. You might be thinking it's so long until my kids get to university, but we've got 2 young people here that through their parents' sacrifices, they're there now. So hold on, parents. You're shaping your children's future with the plans that you're making today for your young ones. And so, good little prompt there for our young mums and our young dads to make the right decisions. So just a question about spirituality. Being at university away from God, you're both involved in church. I know, Nathaniel, you help your dad a lot when you're at home in running church services, and say you're always at the front doing something, singing, sharing, leading. Would you say that being away from family and being at university, has that brought you closer to God or maybe stretched your relationship? Now you've got to feed your relationship with God.
Yeah. I'll say definitely moving out of home, especially in the pastor's house, with my dad being a pastor, you know, he's always there every weekend just to tell you get up now, like it's 10 o'clock, get up now, it's time to go to church, get ready. Like he's always just there pushing you every week to go to church. And like going away from home, being at Avondale, living in dorms, like it's all on yourself now, and it's all just you and your alarm. Like you can just turn off your alarm, unlike your dad, you can't turn off your dad from knocking on your door. But it's like sometimes I do get slack around then. Sometimes I'm just like, I've had a long week, I'm just gonna sleep in, I'm just gonna skip church this week.
Yeah.
But then 1 week turns into 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks turns into 3 weeks, and then you're just out of spirituality. And then it's just important to keep your connection with God, especially because we keep, what Zay was saying, we sing in like Salt, Friday night Salt, which is opening Sabbath. Like we participate in that, and we like keep ourselves involved around God. And like that helps our walk with God too. And like, yeah, we always push each other to go to church every weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like definitely leaving a Christian household, that has set me up to be able to like hold those morals of keeping the Sabbath and like opening the Sabbath and keeping it holy. But I think at sometimes your faith can be challenged a lot because there is so many avenues you can go down, and there are outlets that you can access being away from, you know, those parents that keep you accountable and keep you intact. But yeah, I think my relationship with God has definitely been challenged, but I can say that it's grown a lot in the sense that I have a lot more faith in God that he will direct me to where I need to be and put me in places that I need to be. I can definitely say it's grown a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And growth comes through being challenged, being stretched, and having to make your own decisions at times.
Yeah.
And that's how we find growth, and God trusts us and puts us in those places, for that to happen. So what does leadership look like for you? If you were to define you as a leader, what does leadership mean to you? And the second part of this question I want you to think about is, how will you give back to the community once you get to your stage where you're not a uni student no more, you're in your discipline, you're working? How will you give back to community? So what does leadership mean to you, and how will you give back?
Yeah, so something I forgot to mention before was the reasoning I wanted to be a counselor or study counseling is because I think my passion sits with youth, and especially young Indigenous youth. I want to break that stigma of being shamed to speak up about your mental health. I think that's really where my passion sits, and I think that was one of my initial pushes to want to study counseling. Originally, I did want to study teaching, but I found myself not wanting to be in that school environment. I think that was a big push for me to study counseling. But also going back to what does a leader mean to me, I think, we have the ultimate leader, which is Jesus. And when I think of what does a leader mean to me, I think of, do they show the character of Jesus? Are they loving? Are they nurturing? Do they help us grow? Are they patient with us? That's someone that I want to represent, is Jesus, through leadership. And I've had many leaders before me, like all my nans, and but a big leader in my life and a big role model is my mom. She's definitely her faith combined with God's goodness has just gotten me to where I am today, and she's been my ultimate like leader. So
That's awesome to hear. Say, that's so cool.
I guess like what it means to be a leader to me is like when someone asks what a leader is someone that like stands out, someone stands out to me, someone I want to be like, someone that just does the different. And I guess like what Zay said before, like everyone, what a leadership like for her is Jesus, and like how us Christians should strive to be like Jesus, which is a good like ultimate leader for all of us. But I guess for someone that like was a leader for me when growing up was obviously my father. Like he was able to just like expose me to all like just culture and taking me out to country, like taking me out to Condobolin at such a young age, like just exposed me to like just my culture. I like unlike other fathers like or like other people, they didn't really like talk about that, and like they don't really expose that to their kids or like to young like Indigenous people. And I guess I'm like really thankful, and like like really want to strive to be like my dad when I'm like older. And I guess like when you say how am I gonna like take it when I graduate from Avondale as a teacher, I guess I want to try and be like my father for my students and for my kids. Like I want to show them country. I want to show them how to be a respectful man, like how to, you know, just be godlike. And I guess, that's one of my main leaderships, or like leader for me.
You know what, Nathaniel, I know your dad, so I'll pass the message on to him.
Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome. Okay, so this is so good. You know, you're both walking strong paths and lighting the way for others behind you. And you're basically catalysts of change.
Yeah.
And that's something that our community needs today, is young people that are saying, you know what, we're not going to sit for where we are. We're not going to have the lowest common denominator. We're going to push through and do something different. So it's, I want to commend you both for the choice you've made. And you know, you're only just got your toe in the water at university. There's still a commitment in front of you. There's still assignments, but hey, you're there. You're doing it. And I know our listeners are really encouraging you. And maybe they can take a leaf out of what you're doing for their children as well. So I guess to wrap this time up, what would you say to the young Aboriginal person who's listening to this podcast and is contemplating about going to university, but they're just not sure they can? What would you say to that young person? And you got your cameras in front of you, and maybe look in that camera, talk into their soul, yarn up with them. Let's start with Nathaniel. Your camera's right here. What would you say to a young person that's contemplating university but is just struggling with if they can?
But I just say, just do it. Like, just go to uni. Like, I was in your shoes at one time. I was sitting there. I didn't know what I was going to do after high school. I just wanted to just sit around and run a just normal 9 to 5 or just a normal tradie job. But, you know, get out of your comfort zone. That's where you expand your shell. Like, just go to uni. Just go check out Avondale University. You know, you got family down there. You got Mob down there. You got me and Zay. Like, just take the risk. You know, there's nothing to lose. And I guess, like, what people think when going to Avondale, they only think of, like, 3 core subjects, where it's teaching, counselling, and nursing. But there are other, like, 4-year courses aren't, like, kind of scary to take up. Like, if you want to take up a 4-year course, then that's all for you. But if you're still contemplating going to Avondale or, like, going to university, there are smaller courses. There's undergrads. You can check it out. It goes away in 6 months. And if you don't like Avondale life, then at least experience it. But, yeah, I'd just say just go out, expand your show. Yeah,
good advice, Nathaniel.
I would
take your cameras, eh? Take your camera.
Oh my God.
you look in the.
I would say, being not the most academic. What do you call it? Academic
minded, or
academic minded. I thought that uni wasn't an option for me. So I think just talking to the right people and knowing that there is opportunities out there for you to study a course that you're very passionate in. I just think knowing that you can, that sport isn't the only option. I think a misconception for a lot of our mob is that sport is the only answer and it's the only thing that will take you far. But I think education is what will take you far, and I think that needs to be implemented more into our young people, that uni offers sport too. Like we're able to represent our university with the sport that we love. And yeah, I just think that if you're passionate in what you do, that'll take you far in life. And yeah, I also want to say that, a beautiful part of our culture is that we're so nurturing and we're able to look after our kinship, whether that be our younger cousins that we have to take in, or even the elders that we have to take care of, without even having the option to. But what I want to say is that, yeah, I just think don't let that hold you back from pursuing your time in a university, because there are options of doing online studies, and maybe when you're at a time when you can, where you're able to either move to a university and staying on campus. I just think don't let that be something that holds you back from pursuing something that you love. Yeah,
Definitely.
I think they're very, very wise and brave words to say, because it is one of the beautiful things about our culture, is that love for service and caring for each other. And as you said, Zay, it can be one of the very things that can restrict and hold back our young ones from getting in that and becoming a catalyst of change. So, yeah, I want to commend that statement. Very well said. And so you're here in front on the very first guest on the podcast, and you've just put your challenge out deep in your camera, and you're talking to mob there. Any last final comments that you'd like to say about the decision that you've made? And yeah, last encouragements about getting out there and being a changer of society.
I just want to add, like, if you're sitting in a season where you feel as if you want to make a difference, but you don't think like you're suitable, or you don't have the people to back you, I think, always rely on God to push you to those places you want to be, and yeah, just ultimately have faith in Him. But I think, like, when we talk about being a catalyst of change, anyone can be a catalyst of change. And I think, it's not dependent on what we've been through to be a catalyst of change, but to learn from those experiences that we've been through, and yeah, to move towards making change in the future, especially for our young people. I think as young people today, we need to pave the way for our younger cousins and the people that are coming up. But yeah, I just think, yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
I guess I'll just say, ever since moving to Avondale, moving into dorms, getting away from home, I've made a lot of core memories, and I guess like being able to feel independent is really something I've always wanted to feel, or like I've always wanted like to be like. It's, even though it is scary, like having the weight of rent and just covering your own meals, even if you don't like the vegetarian food there, like if you want to eat meat, like it is like kind of scary, like it is expensive, but the whole course and people down there just so supporting, and just like made me feel so comfortable down there. And I've just had such a ball down there, and like I've just had so much fun time. Like I obviously had like negative doubts or negative thoughts when going towards when moving down to Avondale, but I feel like when I was actually down there, I feel like it just all went like it wasn't true, and I just had a fun time. And yeah, I feel like everyone would have a fun time if they experience the same thing I experienced. Yeah.
Oh, that's so encouraging. And look, I want to thank you both for being here, for launching off True Talk, and being a part of this significant time in history that we get to look back at this time. And when you're in your areas of study and you're in your employment, you'll look back and just think, what an opportunity God's put before us. Thank you so much for being here. And I guess for our listeners and for you two here, it's not about what we're studying. It's about what we're planning to become that keeps our focus. And sometimes if we just focus on the studies, we get swamped. because it's assignment after assignment. But those assignments, we will push through those because we remember why we're there and what we want to become. And so I want to encourage you, stay proud. I want you to stay strong and never stop learning. And that's something that that we can leave as a legacy for our mob. So for our listeners that are listening today, if what you heard has inspired you, I would like you to drop the comment. Change is on its way in the comments below, and that would just inform us that you've heard, you've engaged, you've responded, and you're also ready to make some change. And so thank you so much to our guest Zay and Nathaniel for, as I've said, launching off True Talk, and we want to pray for you, for our listeners here, that that God is speaking to you just as much as Zay and Nathaniel have. Let me close with a final word of prayer and ask God to bless us. Father in heaven, thank you for this time. Thank you for Zay. Thank you for Nathaniel. Thank you for them stepping out, trusting you, dear Father, and cutting their own paths. I pray, Lord, that you'll please continue to be with them as they return back to uni after this break and get back into the grind of university, dear Lord, and that time management. But Father, for our listeners that are perhaps listening, our First Nation listeners that want to break the mold, dear Father, and get out and be catalysts of change, would you please bring an anointing, bring a blessing upon them, and may they clearly hear your voice, and may you prepare the way for them, Father. We thank you for True Talk and for the podcast that will come in the future. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. And as Woodell was saying, please comment your thoughts about it and what changes on its way.
Yes.
Follow our socials. We've got a Facebook account and we've got an Instagram account. And stay posted on our YouTube where we'll be posting more episodes each month. And stay deadly.
Stay deadly.
And what's our socials? What are they? What's the names?
So our socials are SQ@SIM. So that stands for South Queensland @SIM. And if you just look that up, you'll find us there. So,
Awesome. All right, guys. Once again, thank you so much for being here. You're deadly. You're awesome, and God loves you, and so do we. God bless.